We have some new details surrounding a potential Joker 2, which is still in development at Warner Brothers, and other news including the one that the studio is moving along with their Black Superman movie. I'm going to be discussing this news, giving my thoughts on it, and hopefully I don't rant too much on all of the developments that are being made. Before I get into it though, if you want to see much more videos and updates on DC related content, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to leave a like rating. But without further ado, let's dive into the news on the Joker sequel and more. So to add to all of the crazy news at Warner Brothers over the last day, following my previous video on the studio and Christopher Nolan, Joker 2 is apparently still in development according to a new report. Directed and produced by Todd Phillips, who co-wrote the screenplay with Scott Silver, Joker quickly became a hit when it premiered in 2019. The film, based on DC Comics characters, starred Joaquin Phoenix in the title role and provided an alternative origin story for Batman's biggest villain. The film grossed over $1 billion at the box office and won numerous awards, including winning Phoenix an Academy Award for Best Actor. Previously, Phillips said that he discussed Joker 2 with Warner Brothers and that it remained a possibility, but one which he wasn't really interested in taking. But now, there's an indication that a follow-up remains in the works. A new report from The Hollywood Reporter indicates that Joker 2 is still in development, and while the report mainly discusses WB's process for the Black Superman movie, there is a mention of Joker and its planned sequel. The wording suggests that the studio is still counting on the sequel to the massively successful 2019 film. Although it was intended as a standalone movie with no second installments, it's weird that Warner Brothers would suggest going all out for a second film. There are concerns that a sequel would inevitably lose sight of what made Joker special, and it was the rare big studio comic book film to not concern itself too much with world building and instead focusing on Arthur's mindset and his connections to specific characters. A sequel could very well forego that for a bigger and grander saga that would ultimately be less effective. It's for the best that nothing official is announced until the director, the actor, and their collaborators can decide on a continuation that could work, and to be honest, this whole news sounds like it's being pushed from the higher-ups at Warner Brothers. I know Joker made an astonishing amount of money at the box office and was extremely successful, but with Phillips previously stating that he didn't want to do it, and the studio saying that they do, it really just makes me even more disappointed with WB as a studio. I would only be interested in this if the director and star do come out and say they want to do it and have a really good idea. But right now, it's really confusing that WB want to make these decisions, and it seems like decisions that they haven't thought about very thoroughly. And speaking of other decisions that have confused fans over the last 24 hours, the other comes from the same article, with The Hollywood Reporter claiming that Warner Brothers and DC are searching for a black actor and director to helm its upcoming Black Superman reboot. Rumours of a Black Superman film started after it was announced that director Coates is writing a Superman reboot with J.J. Abrams producing under his Bad Robot label. That search has begun, but there isn't a rush as the script isn't expected to be delivered until mid-December, and The Hollywood Reporter says that the aim is for a Black Superman to be introduced in a movie that doesn't take place in the DC Extended Universe. So similar to Joker, it will essentially be its own thing. In fact, Coates is said to have been inspired by the original comics, and the protagonist will hail from Krypton and come to Earth, and it could be a 20th century period piece. DC has previously had a Black Superman named Calvin Ellis, but it's unknown if that name will be used here. So what are my thoughts? Well, the last piece of information surrounding the name and character of Superman that they are approaching is going to be one which is highly important towards whether people will be on board with this decision or not. If they take Kal-El and do a Black Superman movie, then myself and many others will be very disappointed in the decision, especially considering that they have a Black Superman that they could use for a separated movie already. Also, if this turns out to be Calvin Ellis, then it would be extremely annoying to see them push Henry Cavill away from the iconic character. Again, I'm fine with a separated movie about the comics Black Superman Calvin Ellis, because then you could continue Henry Cavill as Kal-El's Superman and have this other Superman reboot separated and a part of its own thing. To me, if this decision goes the bad way with it replacing Henry Cavill, then honestly, I think Warner Brothers just don't understand the characters they are tackling. Again, this is not confirmed in the article, but the rumours have made me worried, and I think if they did go in this unfortunate route, then they are really dragging DC Comics into the ground. I don't know what you guys think, but all of this news on a Joker 2 and a Black Superman just really feels like Warner Brothers need a shake-up of executives. This is, of course, if they are replacing Kal-El and not using the Black Superman character from the comics. We'll just have to see how all of this news develops, but it sure is worrying. But that's all the latest news surrounding a Joker sequel in the Black Superman article that was released by The Hollywood Reporter. I'm intrigued to hear what all of you guys have to say on all of this latest info, because honestly, it feels like Warner Brothers are just so out of touch with their audience, and it really pains to see. To be honest, the only two big Warner Brothers upcoming projects that I'm really excited for right now are The Batman and Dune. They could easily take all different routes by continuing the Snyderverse, doing other DC projects, and smaller, more inventive original films to capitalise on all of the different markets. But it seems right now that their interest is in rebooting everything and alienating their audience, putting aside the issues they have with filmmakers like Christopher Nolan and so forth. But ranting aside, I will be covering whatever news comes out of the studio because I'm interested to see how these projects will change or develop over time, especially considering that the Warner Brothers chairman is rumoured to be leaving and heading to Netflix. But let me know down below what you think towards these upcoming projects and what you think Warner Brothers should do to change the negative stance towards the studio. For more videos surrounding everything DC and Warner Brothers, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like rating. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.